You are watching the Michigan Football Report. We've got Overreaction Monday. A lot of things to talk about as this is turning out to be maybe one of the best Michigan football teams in the history of the program. Before we do that, I just want to ask you guys, if you've yet to do so, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. The most watched or consumed show, radio, TV, podcast, YouTube, anywhere, the last two seasons, 2021, 2022. Let's ensure that continues to happen here in 2023. Hit that subscribe button. Join 28,000 Michigan football fans who have subscribed to this channel. We are going to take a look at Overreaction Monday, the national title, the Heisman Trophy, Michigan State, all coming up on the show. Let's get it going, Jack, right now. James, you look so great in that crisp white shirt. Where is it from? It's from Roan. We are presented by Roan, RHONE.com/chatsports. 20% off your order. The absolute best clothes you can imagine. The commuter collection is amazing. Go get started with Roan. You are watching the Michigan Football Report Overreaction Monday. Switching up a little this week, we got to be focused on Michigan State, the state championship coming up. I'm excited for this game. A lot of things to talk about all week with revenge factor. Later on in the week, I'm going to take a look back at some of the best Michigan State games of my lifetime, some of the best performances. But for today, it is Overreaction Monday, and the biggest overreaction coming out of that game Saturday was the Heisman hype of JJ McCarthy. By the way, make sure, for most of these are not just my overreactions. These are the things I've seen. I've taken 36 hours to consume all the different news nuggets around the internet. What is like kind of the most trending things around this program? And that's what Overreaction Monday is for you guys. So JJ McCarthy vaulted up the Heisman ratings, right? He was like 7th, 8th when it comes to odds and really, outside the top 5 on most Heisman rankings, including my own, up until this Saturday. Now he is number 2 for the Heisman ranking odds. And I think him, Michael Penix, couple others, Dillon Gabriel right there from Oklahoma, are up there as the guys to look for going forward for the Heisman Trophy race. None of those players have lost a game yet, McCarthy, Penix, or Dillon Gabriel. And, of course, Penix is going to be number 1 given the big-time win he had at Oregon on Saturday. But McCarthy, 14 of 17, another game thrown 80+%, 222 yards, 3 touchdowns. But I think the differentiator in this past game was he had a couple plays that they're going to play over and over in the highlight reels that just say, hey, this guy's different. He's just not some quarterback putting up kind of pedestrian numbers in the grand scheme of things. You compare him to like Michael Penix Jr., not the biggest numbers, but the flip to Diamond Edwards, right? The exact same Harbaugh. I don't know if you guys have seen that play. I'll try and retweet it or something here on Monday where he was rolling to his left and flung it forward to Diamond Edwards down to the 1-yard line. Jim Harbaugh, the same exact play, almost frame for frame in, I think it was 1986. And they kind of put them back and forth next to each other. So this campaign is real. The numbers, though, they're not huge right now for JJ McCarthy. When you compare, like Michael Penix is up there like 2,400 yards, 23 touchdowns, 22 touchdowns. McCarthy's up there with 14 touchdowns now. So he's getting up the list. That 78% completion rating is still huge. Heisman betting odds right now, Michael Penix Jr. has taken a commanding lead, right? And these really fluctuate based on what happens. I'm not sure how the sports book always put these together. But 140 means he's more likely than not to win the Heisman. So if you were betting Penix to the field, Penix has a better odds than the field. McCarthy, Dillon Gabriel, plus 1,000, which is basically 10-1 odds. You put $10 on it, you win 100. You put 100 on it, you get 1,000. Jordan Travis of Florida State, and then Jayden Daniels, who's putting up a ton of numbers, even though he's got 2 losses. He is 5th there on the odds. So you saw McCarthy's got those 14 touchdown passes. Michigan has 5 regular season games left, and potentially 3 more games after that, Big Ten, 2 CFP games. So as many as 7 more games, 8 more games, for JJ McCarthy. With 14 touchdowns right now, will he break Michigan's single-season passing touchdown record of 25, set multiple times by Elvis Grbac and Chad Henne, 2 times there, 91 and 2004. Go down in the comments and give me a yes or a no, and sit through this quick ad break. Go down there, comment, come back up. I'll be finishing up this ad break from today's presenting sponsor, and that is Roan. I am wearing the Commuter Collection by Roan, the most comfortable and awesome athletic dress pants, shirts, and apparel. It's super easy. You never have to change your clothes between your daily activities. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Roan has stepped up to the challenge. I've got the commuter shirt on. I've got the commuter pants on as well, both part of the Commuter Collection. Most comfortable and breathable and flexible set of men's clothing known to man. You'll never have to worry about what you wear when you have the Roan's Commuter Collection on. the wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It is that easy. I'll tell you what. Comfort, flexibility, going from the office to my son's football practice to go get sushi with the wife or friends. I can do it all in the same clothes from Rhone. And as the weather gets a little cooler out, I've been wearing my Rhone more and more, kind of out of short season. I'm wearing the Rhone pants on the weekends. They're so comfortable. I can relax in them. I can get back up. Wrinkles go away. Go on to whatever I'm going, coming into the office to do a show, going to get dinner with the guys, whatever it is like that. The Commuter Collection from Rhone. Go to rhone.com/chatsports. That's rhone.com/chatsports, RHONE.com. Save 20% off your entire order when you use promo code CHATSPORTS. Go to Rhone, get it going. It is time to find your corner office comfort. Make sure you guys comment that one, yes or no. Will McCarthy break Michigan's single-season passing touchdown record of 25? Take a look at this stat, though. I tweeted this out into the evening on Saturday. NCAA completion percentage record for a single season. And it's really funny. If you go back like 20 years, like 2002, 2003, 2004, it was like 70%. And then like Colt, it was actually my guy Bruce Gradkowski from Toledo had it for a year. And then Colt McCoy said it was like 74% in 2008 or 9. And look, you go to 2020, 2023, it pops up. It's just amazing how efficient these quarterbacks have continued to get over the years. But Mac Jones didn't win the Heisman, right? The guy he threw the ball won the Heisman, Devontae Smith, 77.36% completion on the season. COVID-shortened season, so he didn't even play a full 15 games as they won the national title. JJ threw 7 games, 78.17%. I'm saying, hey, JJ McHeisman. I'm putting out little nuggets like that all the time on my Twitter account. So make sure you guys follow me at James Yoder. I'll give you guys this promise. Next 10 people to follow me on Twitter, I will follow you back. And if you already follow me and you see this, you say, hey, well, you don't follow me yet, James, you leave me out. Just reply like, Yoder, give me a follow back on one of my tweets today, and I will definitely follow you back. But the first 10 new followers, go ahead and give me a follow. I will follow you back right now. I think just on this JJ McCarthy campaign, why I think it is real is one, the sports books are really keeping an eye on Michigan and JJ McCarthy and really think he has a chance. He's not going to really face competition, I don't think, from any of his teammates. Roman Wilson isn't putting up enough yards. Blake Corum's got the touchdowns, but maybe not the big-time plays or the yards at this point. And no one really is standing out nationwide. Outside of Michael Penix, he's got the numbers, he's got the big win, but they've got a tough schedule going forward. If they drop a game, JJ McCarthy could be right there at the top. He's not going to have these huge numbers, but that efficiency, he keeps leading the nation in all the efficiency ratings that he has been. I think he will be right there at the end. 2 games in the final 3 weeks of the season, plus the Big Ten Championship. So you could be in the spotlight across the country 3 out of the last 4 weeks. Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State. And then a Big Ten Championship game. JJ wins those, shows up like he has the first 7 games. I think the Heisman Trophy could be his. It could be this Michigan's team is just a all-time ranking and just up there with the greats of all time in college football. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. I don't want to get too crazy here, but you have to just acknowledge at this point what this Michigan football team has done. 19 straight Big Ten wins. They're going to avenge their last Big Ten loss, which was, of course, right at this time 2 years ago against Michigan State in a game that they had. I think it was a 16-point lead in the second half, and they blew it. First team, how about these stats? First team in the Big Ten to score 30 points and allow 10 or less through 7 games since 1905, folks. We're talking 118 years. And how about this one? Since the polls started happening, AP poll era, 1936, that is 87 years. Michigan is the first team in the AP poll era to accomplish that 30-10 feat through 7 games, scoring 30 points every game, giving up 10 or less. So you say, James, you're crazy comparing them to these other teams. You're crazy. It's too early. Who have they played? Well, there's been plenty of teams that have had weak schedules through 7 games. And Michigan being the only team in 87 years of the AP poll era that has accomplished that, only team that's happened in the Big Ten. There's been plenty of times where Big Ten teams have had crappy schedules through 7 games. I think you cannot ignore some of the historic numbers that this Michigan football team is putting up. 3 points, 7 points, right? That UNLV one, I think that was a cheap one at the end. Bowling Green, they scored a field goal against the Michigan first-string defense. Okay, we'll give it to them. Rutgers, maybe a little bit of a fluke play, but a long play. Nebraska, end of the game play. Michigan was up 45-0, scored that 7. Minnesota had to have a Hail Mary towards the end. I think it was the last play of the first half. And then Indiana scored 7 early, and then Michigan scored 52 straight points on the Hoosiers on Saturday, and another absolute domination. Also, Michigan scoring 52 points in back-to-back weeks. First time they've done that against Big Ten teams since 1985. Quarterback of that team, of course, one Jim Harbaugh. So things could be historic. Michigan has 5 regular season games coming up. And, if Michigan State had any heartbeat at this point where they had any competitive nature at all, this would look like a much tougher schedule than it probably is because Michigan State is becoming so bad. Michigan's favored by over 3 touchdowns in this one. So, okay, you got them. You got to buy. You got Purdue, who's not looking that great. I think they're 2-5 now in the season after they won the Big Ten West last year. But then the last 3 weeks of the season, that 14-game stretch from Penn State, at Maryland, Ohio State, that's going to decide if this is a historic team in the Big Ten and nationally, and whether or not JJ McCarthy is going to win himself a Heisman. It's the favorite, your favorite, my favorite, Jack, your favorite segment of the week. It is this week's Michigan football dogs. Now, we've got, I think, 17 players who have been given a collar so far this season. I'll go through the whole list maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday to make sure you guys see the entire list. So if you haven't watched before, what the dogs are is once you're a dog, you're a dog. So you can't win a dog every single week. So you got to do something big in a game, or there can be, now that we're late in the season, like a season long. Hey, you finally played up to your potential. You are now a dog, and we have got 5 players to give a collar to here on the Michigan Football Report. Tyler Morris. How about Tyler Morris against Indiana? He had 4 catches. He had a bunch of yards. He's doing things all over the field and had a really nice punt return. Tyler Morris, sophomore wide receiver starting. You are a dog. Donovan Edwards. Mr. Donovan Edwards, not putting up the big yards, not putting up the big plays yet, but finally gets in the end zone. He's a dog for scoring a touchdown against Indiana. Speaking of Indiana, former Hoosiers quarterback, started a few games for him back in like 2019 or 20. He goes 5 for 5. He throws a touchdown against his former team. Jack Tuttle, congratulations, my man. You're a dog. Next up on the dog list, Rod Moore was in the starting lineup finally. He had 2 tackles, but most importantly, a red zone interception that he returned 38 yards to up near midfield as Indiana was going in for their second touchdown of, I think it was the first quarter still. Rod Moore, congratulations, dog. And last but not least, this is big game. I think he probably should have been called a dog prior to today, but Michael Barrett has finally earned it, at least on this show. 3 tackles, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, and on that sack, a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Michael Barrett, congratulations. You're a dog. Michael Barrett, he is a dog, and those are Yoder's dogs after Michigan, Indiana. So I think that's now, 19 guys I think were dog designation prior. So that's 24 Michigan Wolverines have been nominated as dogs. Almost the entire starting lineup at this point. A couple of backups, of course. Donovan Edwards, still a backup, of course, and Jack Tuttle. Offensive line, right? I think we've only given dogs to 2 offensive linemen so far this year, so that's going to be an area of focus going forward. I didn't think they had a great game, giving up 4 sacks and 3 in the first quarter, so none of the offensive linemen get to be nominated or get to be awarded the collar as dogs. Let me know, guys. Taking a little poll, figuring out where you guys are watching from, making sure that we're putting out videos the right times of day. We don't want to be too early, too late. I assume most people in the state of Michigan, but let me know what city you are watching from. If you didn't know, Chat Sports headquarters is in Dallas, Texas. We've got 8,100 square feet of palatial studio space now, just expanded last month, added 2,500 more square feet. Also an office in Cincinnati, Ohio, too, but we are in Dallas. So let me know where you guys are from. Comment your city down below. Let me know, kind of scan through them. We'll give a few city shout-outs on the show later in this week. Number 3 on my Overreaction Monday is this offense is lacking explosive plays. And this is something I tweeted out during the game. I saw a bunch of people acknowledging this. Michigan's offense the last couple years, really both years. I don't have to go especially. Both years, 21, 22, was always breaking off 60-yard plays and 50-yard plays and 70-yard plays. I think the stat was in 2021, Michigan led all of college football with plays over 60 yards. Haven't seen that at all this year. And really the only big plays they've had, they have one Blake Corum run of 40-something yards, and then the Colson Loveland touchdown this past game, which was 38 or 41 yards, something like that. That was on a broken play. So all the passing plays, Roman Wilson, that one down the sideline, was on broken plays. Wide receivers had to break out of their routes, which you really can't coach to. Also, Donovan Edwards, not getting the big plays. It seems like every time he touches the ball, guys, he gets tackled the second anyone's within a foot of him. 7 games. 60 carries so far, only 199 yards. Remember, this is the guy who had over 200 yards just against Ohio State, almost 200 yards in the fourth quarter alone. I think the most concerning thing with the Don so far this year is he's only averaging 3.3 yards per carry, but did get in the end zone on Saturday and has 18 catches on the year, but no touchdowns on this season. But Sharon Moore's offense, it's absurdly efficient. Okay, you look at all the numbers of it's a slow, right? It's the slowest offense in college football so far. That actually is a fact. But the most efficient based on a lot of different metrics. EPA, what did we say that was? Estimated points added, per play. Michigan's leading the nation in that. They're up there with most efficient run game, most efficient pass game, some of the best in the red zone, which is a big change from years past where Michigan struggled in the red zone, and one of the best in the country on third down. But it's not very explosive. Maybe they're holding some things back, right? That's always what football fans say, Michigan fans especially. Hey, we're saving the good place for Penn State or Ohio State or the college football playoff. Maybe that's the case. But they certainly didn't do that the last couple of years. And with JJ McCarthy, Roman Wilson, all the stars in this offense, I just feel like Michigan should break off a couple more 60, 70, 80-yard touchdown plays, which has just not happened at all this season. One thing I did want to address is I thought it was a bad move, and maybe Jim Harbaugh was like, hey, we can't even risk it here, Don. I'm sorry. We got to put Blake Corum back in the game. But the Don got Michigan down to the 1-yard line. I think it was early third quarter, if I have to go back and look. But you guys remember the play I'm talking about. And he was going to get swapped out. Michigan's going to run up and try and get it. I think it actually might have been right before halftime is what it was. Yeah, something like that. And he was doing this. He was saying, no, I'm not coming out, baby. I want this. Give me the rock. And Michigan's done that a really good job under Jim Harbaugh. Guy makes big plays down the field. You're trying to get him the ball if he gets tackled inside the 3 or 4 yard line to get in the end zone to kind of get rewarded for what he did. And Harbaugh went as far as calling timeout to get the Don out of the game because he was refused to come out of the game. Edwards looked kind of, bummed out, right? He didn't look happy. And they did the reverse later on in the game, right? Benjamin Hall gets him inside the 2-yard line. They put the Don back in the fourth quarter, get him the touchdown for Michigan. So they gave it back to him, but I just didn't see the point. You want a guy like Don Edwards making, you want him to feel confidence, feel like he's a part of this team, feel like he's making an impact. I don't think he has. Glad he got in. You saw how excited Michigan's players were that he finally got in the end zone. Him and Blake Corum recorded a video walking up on somebody's cell phone. I'm not sure where they got a phone from. On somebody's phone, walking up the tunnel. They seemed happy together. They both scored a touchdown, but I thought that was kind of a poor move for Michigan to call a timeout and pull Donovan Edwards out of the game and put Blake Corum in when the Don clearly was waving it in, wanting to get the touchdown himself. All right, seeing some crazy people out there saying this Michigan football team, based on the stats we told you about, this could be a team better than LSU, the 2019 LSU team that some, myself maybe included for sure, think is the best college football team of my lifetime, maybe ever. Could be rivaled with the next year Alabama team, that 2020 Alabama team, although I don't give them as much credit because they played in a shortened season, only played SEC games. But let's take a look at that 2019 LSU team. Let's take a look at what they did through 7 games. What stands out to me is they score a lot of points. Of course, 55, 65, 66 in their first 4 games. So over 45 in their first 4 games, and then over 60 in those 3 and 4. But what also stands out there is giving up 38 to Texas, giving up 38 to Vanderbilt, crushing Utah State, whatever, 28 to Florida, and then Mississippi State, they kind of blew them out. Look at this ridiculous tweet out there. Talk about an overreaction from this guy at. Oh, Jack, that's my tweet. I thought you were going to find somebody else. Okay. Middle miscommunication. I told Jack, find some crazy fans tweeting things about Michigan and LSU. Apparently, this is the tweet that he came up with. 2023 Michigan over 2019 LSU. Look, it's kind of a joke. But I don't think it's that crazy. I think if you look at those scores there, you can make an argument that Michigan is a more complete team because the LSU's defense was not nearly as good as Michigan's defense. I think the gap between LSU's offense, maybe the best ever in college football, and Michigan's offense is sizable, but not nearly as big as the Michigan defense compared to the LSU defense that year. So not crazy. I think on a neutral field right now, if they kind of had time travel, that LSU team would only be probably a 6 to 7 point favorite over Michigan. But nevertheless, we've got 5 games left to put up there, this Michigan football team, but they're great. They're doing things that teams have never done, which we showed you earlier in the show. Guy like Kirk Herbstreit, my guy, follows me on Twitter, Jack. Big time move by that one. Thanks for the follow, Kirk. You guys should follow as well at James Yoder. He's got Michigan as number 1 in his poll. So a lot of people putting Michigan out there. There's this one schmuck who blocked me on Twitter because I called him out like 3 or 4 weeks ago from some random, I can't remember where they're at. And Utah or something like that. Still ranking Michigan 7th in the poll. He's the only one who's got him outside the 7 in the AP poll. Kirk's got him as number 1. Joel Klatt, of course, got him at number 2, but a lot of first-place votes from Michigan. They stole like 10 or 8, I think it was 6, 7 first-place votes from Georgia just this week. This team's done things that have never been done before, right? I think the 30-10 number is the big one. Hasn't happened in the Big Ten in 118 years. Hasn't happened in the college football poll era ever. And Michigan's just been dominant this entire year. Unlike any team, in my opinion, 2003 Florida State is one to look at a little bit. But other than them, dominant to this level, I saw this stat, a guy tweeted at me that Michigan's average so far this year is they score the winning touchdown, basically the touchdown that puts them ahead for the rest of the game on average with 8 minutes left in the first quarter. Isn't that a crazy stat? 8 minutes left in the first quarter on average. Obviously, that doesn't happen every game, but that's kind of wild. LSU's, I think, was something like 3 minutes left in the first quarter. The same person had tweeted out there the other day. So don't think it's that crazy that you can start comparing Michigan to at least the best teams in the Big Ten over the last 10 or 20 years. And as they continue to dominate, if they make an impact statement, they go on the road against Penn State, win by 20 points, keep up that 30-10 streak, you might be calling them potentially, if they win a national title, among the best teams in college football history. Last overreaction, I saw people saying, we're going to pull that Ryan Day move, which didn't work out well for him. So watch what you say, Michigan fans. Hang 100 on Sparty in their stadium. Mel Tucker's no longer there because of one of these moves. We all know what happened there. Jack, go laughing. And Michigan's 23.5-point favorites, the second biggest line in the rivalry history. 2016, when Sparty was awful that year, 24.5. I think the Michigan line will actually, the money's coming in heavy on Michigan. I think this line will end up being 25-26, so it will be the biggest line in the rivalry history. But beware, in 2020, Michigan was like a 22-point favorite over Michigan State, and the Spartans came in and beat Michigan, which really started this team spiraling out of control in that 2020 season. Somehow they turned it around the past 3 years after that. But when these spreads have been this big, there's been big spreads, 2016, 2017, 2020, Michigan's been favored big time in all those ones. The games have been a lot closer than expected. But I'll tell you what, I've always despised Michigan State, not as people, but just the program in general. I think they're kind of a Bush League program. They always kind of do things that little brother, as Mike Hart and young Harbaugh have said. They just do kind of Bush League things, right? Fights in the tunnel, the things with kind of pushing Devin Gardner's head down and twisting guys' knees and all that crap that they've done over the years. So if you despise them just like I do, go ahead in the comments and type FMSU. You guys know what the F stands for, but light up the comments with FMSUs if you feel like I do and just despise this Spartan program. The state championship, as Jim Harbaugh dubbed it. I don't know if anyone really said that before Harbaugh came to Michigan in 2015. He suffered a brutal loss in 2015 on the had trouble with the snap. I don't even want to talk about the last play, the punt, but the last 5 has been pretty split evenly. Michigan won last year 29-7. Not very close game at Michigan Stadium, night game. But remember, 2021, Michigan was up 16 in the second half, lost that game. Kenneth Walker, 5 touchdowns. 2020, I don't even want to talk about that game. One of the worst losses in program history, in my opinion. 2019, Michigan absolutely blew them out. That was at home, part of that 2 back-to-back home games in 2018 and 2019 at Michigan Stadium. 2018, that was the stretch of Michigan where they really thought they were a program, really thought they were a national title contender when they won 3 straight. It was Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Penn State back-to-back weeks against top 15, top 20 teams. Got the win in 21-7 in 2018. But after last year's rumble in the tunnel, all right, and the loss in 2021, last time they were in Spartan Stadium, I think Michigan has got Michigan State on their mind big time. They are going to look to get off to a fast start, play fast, play cool, play winning football, and I think there's a chance they could absolutely humiliate this Michigan State team who has nothing going for them right now. They've got recruits decommitting left and right. They've switched their quarterback. They blew a 24-6 fourth quarter lead to Rutgers this past Saturday. Gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter, and Rutgers came to lose them, beat them. So there's nothing going on in the Michigan State program. If Michigan scores 50, folks, I will not be surprised. I won't be surprised if it's like 55-0. That's how confident I am in this Michigan State team and how much this Michigan State team has struggled. Reminder, if you want me to follow you on Twitter, just go and follow me today. The first 10 people to follow me after this show is published, I will follow back. Or if you follow me in a while, think you're getting left out, just reply to one of my tweets today. Say, James, how about a follow back, brother? And I will get back, follow back on Twitter. It's at James Yoder. We will have another show on Tuesday for you. There's a chance, small chance, 25% chance, we might put out a PM show here on Monday with some information coming out here around the program. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Until I see you later, go Blue.